Real quick, I gotta say this: D Space Nine don't get the respect it deserves, but I put D Space Nine next to TNG. All right, I think it goes TNG, D Space Nine, then the original, and then Voyager, and then Star Trek Enterprise. I haven't really got into Discovery, and I put Discovery, Picard, I put that in a separate tier. Um, Even though they're kind of connected, but they're not connected. You know what I'm saying? But I feel like you had to put the original Next Generation, D Space Nine, Voyager, and Enterprise because they kind of, especially Next Generation, went from Next Generation to DS9, Voyager, and to Enterprise. And the reason why I put DS9 number two, DS9 is the bridge between Voyager and Enterprise. It's almost like you have to watch DS9 to understand both to a degree. It ties wonderfully with Enterprise and Voyager. And there are certain characters that are on DS9 that transferred from the TNG, namely Worf and O'Brien. O'Brien gets more shine in DS9 than he did in TNG. In TNG, he was just a guy that just beam you up. In TNT at DS9, you really get a lot more of his character. O'Brien is like the go-to guy. He's like the Scotty of DS9 to a degree. Um, I just think I think DS9 had more memorable characters. They were more flawed. I think their characters had more layers to them, from Cisco to Jake, to Major Kira to Odo. Technically, this is a Kardashian base that's been taken over by the Enterprise. So, um, this is a real estate in space that's sought after not only by the Kardashians, but it's sought after by the Dominion that you'll see later on in the seasons with the Changelings and the Jem'Hadar teaming up with the Kardashians, and then we see that we go into a war that brings the Maquis around. And I think the Maquis is introduced in DS9. It carries over into Voyager, but the introductory happened in DS9. And I really think where Voyager dropped the ball at, they could have really explored the Maquis. Because remember, half of Voyager's crew is basically the Maquis. That's what Chakotay was. He was a Maquis person. And these are people that have defected from the Enterprise because they don't really believe in what it is. And that war started the defection of that and led to the Maquis. And so they was like homegrown and a Federation terrorists, basically. And so I think that Voyager should have explored that more instead of being lost for 10 seasons or whatever. But but I know they wanted to get back on the Starship. But I really like this DS9. It's the only one out of all the Star Trek series that's based on a star base. And it's so interesting seeing the dynamics, the colorful stories. I'm a major fan of Quark. Quark is like probably one of my favorite characters at all of Star Trek. Then they brought my boy Worf, who everybody loves Worf. If you don't like Worf, something's wrong with you. I like Major Kira. I like the love triangle between her and Odo. Because Odo is such a straight-laced person, so is Major Kira. So seeing them kind of interact in the love thing was so interesting because they're so professional, but yet they have these emotions. Odo is like the Data or the Spock of the group. He's that guy that's trying to understand humanity. And I think with Star Trek, you always need a character that has an art that's trying to understand humanity. I think it makes the story better. I think it makes the story more human that way. And that's really what brings forth a great story in Star Trek. There got to be at least someone in the ensemble that is so detached from humanity that doesn't understand it, and they're learning it through their lens, and I think it makes it amazing. So Odo was a standout character in that regard, and Garrett, the Kardashian that defected, who became a seamstress, but he was not to mess with. Garrett was very dangerous. Garrett is a very dangerous individual. But him and Dukat had a lot of great things to do. And really, Deep Space Nine had a main antagonist. Dukat was like the villain of the story. No matter who else was they were dealing with, Dukat was behind a lot of stuff. He was the Borg to Cisco, you know. And so it was a great series. I think that there's a lot of life in a lot of those stories and a lot of those characters that I would still like to see. But I'm a Deep Space Nine fan. I will ride with Deep Space Nine, DS9. I just seen their complete series at Walmart for like $40. So if you were nearby Walmart, you can buy the complete series for $40 at Walmart. And I'm telling you, Deep Space Nine is where it's at.